Hey, I'm Noam, the chef over at MeeshMeesh's and Middle Iron 4, and today we're going to cook some lentils, do a one-pot chicken and rice dish. Hey, it's Noam, the chef of MeeshMeesh's and Middle Iron 4. I'm coming from the GE Monogram Kitchen at Bourbon Barrel Foods in Butchertown. And we've got a really fun recipe today. It's gonna be a chicken and rice with lots of lentils, kind of some vegetables that I cleared out of the freezer. Really fun, one pot, easy meal to make. So first things first, we have our chicken here. This is a whole chicken that's been cut up into kind of larger pieces, some of the bones removed. You can use any chicken. We can use chicken breasts, chicken legs, chicken wings. Cooked chicken would also be great in this if that's all we had around. We're gonna season it up. First thing is salt. Salt is always really important. We're gonna use a little bit of the Bourbon Barrel Foods smoked paprika. About a teaspoon of that. We're gonna go with a teaspoon of our Bourbon Barrel Foods chili powder. And some of the Bourbon Barrel Foods garlic salt. And last, we're gonna do a pinch of that smoked Bourbon Barrel Foods curry. It's kind of like a secret. You wouldn't really know it's there. If you don't like curry, you don't have to put it in there, but I think it's really, really delicious, and a little goes a long way. You can also add as much or as little of any of these as you'd like. Next, we're just gonna give this a stir. Just pretty lightly seasoned, not too much. Again, if you had taco seasoning, that would be great. If we had just salt and pepper, also great. Really, we're just looking to add a little bit of flavors to the chicken, but it is not required to have any or all of these. It's really just the method and kind of a good way to use anything you have left in your fridge or available in the pantry. It's pretty fun. So I'm gonna go into a preheated pot that I have here. This can also be used in a crock pot with no problem, but we're just gonna put that in the pot and get a little bit of color on this. Again, this step is just a little chefy step, but it is not required by any means. We could just dump it all in the pot. Next, we've got a couple onions laying around, so I'm gonna go ahead and slice and dice these up. Any sort of chop works, but we want it to be relatively small. It's gonna be a quick cook overall, and so we want it to cook fast. We don't want to have too big pieces of onion in there. I do like to put my onions in the fridge for a little bit. I find that if they're cold, it helps with the crying, but ultimately you want a really sharp knife to do that for you. So our chicken is in there with our onions. We have a little bit of garlic that we're gonna add. Again, I have some garlic. That's an extra step. If you didn't have this garlic, you don't have to do it. I'm just taking the knife, smashing it, and we're gonna take our knife, give it a rough chop. Does not need to be any sort of way. Just a rough chop for that garlic. Get all those aromatics out. And that garlic, onion, and chicken are all in the pot. Super delicious. The smell in here is awesome, if you couldn't tell. So we're just gonna give it a quick stir. Make sure nothing's burning on the bottom. We have a little bit of color. The spices are really becoming floral. That's great stuff. And then next we're gonna look at our rice and lentils. So lentils are a legume, so similar to any sort of bean, but the advantage is they cook really, really fast, super high in protein, and really versatile. So we're using them today with rice and chicken. You can also cook them, cool them down, eat them in a salad. We could do burrito bowls with this. We can replace them instead of rice altogether. They're super, super delicious, super versatile. There's also other ways of making different doughs with them. You can make like pancakes with them. They're super, super great alternative for gluten-free situations. So again, really delicious. I'm gonna take my lentils and just put them in a strainer here real quick to give them a quick rinse. Using any sort of legume or dry bean, you just wanna give them a little rinse. They've been dry for a while. I just wanna get any dust off of them, make sure there's no rocks in there, things like that. So I'm just gonna take them over to the sink real quick, and we're just giving them a quick rinse. Nothing serious. Just wanna make sure that any dust or debris off of them. Our chicken, our onions are doing their thing, looking great. We're gonna add a little more salt to this pot. And we have these rinsed lentils. It's about 1.5 cups. We're gonna go ahead and add those lentils into the pot. We're also gonna come back through with our rice. We're gonna give the rice a little quick rinse as well. Get any extra starch off of it. Kind of helps make sure our rice doesn't get too sticky or overcook. And we're gonna give it a stir. Make sure the lentils are incorporated. And we're gonna add that rice in. So we have everything mixed up. The rice is in, the lentils are in. Again, one pot meal, super easy. You can totally do this in a crock pot. Put everything in the pot at once. Here we have a little chicken broth. And we're gonna add about 1.5 times the amount of water as we do for our rice. So we had 2 cups of rice, and we're gonna do about 3 cups of water. So just enough to cover. If we wanted to make this into a soup, I would just add more chicken broth. Again, really, really simple. I would add about 5 times to 6 times the amount of water as the rice. We'd have really, really beautiful soup or a stew. So we're gonna let that simmer. Make sure all the rice and lentils are broken up. We're gonna bring this back up to a boil and then let it simmer. Bum, bum, bum. So we have the chicken, rice, and lentils in the pot. It's gonna come back to a boil. As that's coming up, we have our vegetables here. So I kind of cleared out my freezer and my pantry, but we have some fava beans, some peas, some corn. I had some canned artichoke hearts. You can use any sort of canned vegetable, any sort of frozen vegetable. Fresh vegetables are also great. It's just gonna be a 1-pot meal. So again, you can throw it all in the pot. With these artichoke hearts, I am gonna cut them just so they're a little bit closer to bite size. Artichokes are really, really beautiful vegetable. They are actually like a flower that we eat before it blossoms, but they have a really distinct and delicious taste. So we have our artichoke hearts. I just kind of simply quartered them. We have the corn, the favas, and so our pot is back up to a boil. So we're just gonna go ahead and add some of these vegetables in. They're still frozen. That's actually great. It'll help them cook a little bit longer. We have our corn here. And we have about a cup of each vegetable here. So for this recipe, I'm doing about 4 cups of vegetable in total. And again, our peas go in. And we're gonna give it a quick stir before we put a lid on it. And we'll set about a 15-minute timer and let it all do its magic. So as that's simmering, I'm just gonna pick some of this parsley. Again, if we don't have any parsley, it's not a big deal. I just think it adds a little bit of color and a little bit of freshness and flavor. Yeah, this meal is really delicious. It's kind of, something that I grew up eating, not exactly this, but something very similar where both my parents worked. My mom would come home. It would kind of be thrown together either leftovers or a quick meal. So lentils were commonly eaten in our house. We loved them. All right, so we've had our 15-minute timer up. Looks pretty gorgeous. We have a little bit of liquid in there, but the vegetables have all kind of risen. Chicken looks moist. We're gonna give it another 5 minutes on very low heat, just to kind of keep absorbing some of that water up, and then we'll fluff it. Stay tuned.
5 minutes later.
Gorgeous. So the rice has risen, all the vegetables are still really bright and vibrant. Our raisins and cranberries have gotten really nice and soft. So just gonna come through, give this a little bit of a fluff. Our chicken's nice and moist. Rice is still whole. So now it's time to just plate it up. So again, we can do this as a burrito bowl. This would be fantastic like that. If I added some more water to this, we could have made a soup or a stew out of it. Took about maybe 20 minutes in total start to finish. In a crock pot, probably about 45, but a little bit more set it and forget it. But again, really beautiful. Great way to use these lentils. Great way to use any veggies that I have laying around. We're gonna finish it off with just a little bit of fresh parsley. Again, I have it. You can use dry parsley in the broth. It just adds a little freshness, a little herb quality to it that's really nice. And again, really delicious, nutritious, awesome way to use lentils and anything that's left around in the fridge. Gotta get Big Lentil to sponsor us after this.